Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. All right, welcome everybody to the Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. I'm so grateful. I have an amazing guest today. Now, if you guys have a few money stories, I know my little brain wants to come up with money stories at times, and it's like, whoa, what's going on in there? So if you find yourself running into that, well, we've got someone who is definitely an expert in that area, and it's going to help you to shift those stories, because there's a lot these days, at least at the time of this recording. There's the usual stories about, oh my God, the economy or whatever. So what is that all about, especially as it goes to being a spiritual entrepreneur and thriving? And are we supposed to just be spiritual and all this stuff? My massage therapist today says, oh my God, people judge me for how much I charge even as a massage therapist. And it's like, it's a crazy, wild world with this money stuff. So I can't wait to dive into it with you today, Deborah.
I look forward to having that conversation and hearing what kinds of things you've been hearing.
Yeah. Let's get into that today. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you a little bit about Deborah. Deborah is a money mindset mentor, spiritual business coach, and creator of the Anatomy of MoneyTM system for holistic wealth and well-being. She helps heart-centered entrepreneurs break through subconscious, mental, emotional, and financial blocks so they can create sustainable, soul-aligned 6- or 7-figure businesses with ease, speed, and confidence without working harder, feeling guilty, downplaying your success, or selling your soul. Deborah holds a PhD in Comparative Literature from Princeton, and she is an award-winning filmmaker who has created content for PBS, Nova, Frontline, the National Science Foundation, and other media channels. She's, like I was saying to her before the show, like she's kind of done everything, it feels like, in a way. She also has a pre-medical degree and has been teaching and practicing yoga and meditation for over 30 years. Her unique blend of ancient wisdom, modern science, narrative medicine, and creative visualization has helped thousands of business owners around the world change their minds, their mindsets, and their relationship to money, power, and true wealth. She is the author of Best Brain Hacks, Turn on Your Tap, and the forthcoming Anatomy of Money, Your Inside Guide to True Wealth. So, Deborah, there are a lot of stories, always have been going on around money. It just seems like this last week, it's been a little extra. I've had someone tell me, hey, even someone that's worked with me and told me they can't see themselves going further, like in their business without me around. And boy, but gets to negotiations around the next level of what we're doing. It's like, oh, but you're expensive or whatever. I'm like, okay, what's expensive? Or just so many things. Like the other story I heard today, with the massage therapist, and I hear like there's a sales team member that I manage. Well, they're all at the academy. They're all saying they don't got money and they don't have all this stuff. And so I'm really curious what your approach is, especially to the economy one, maybe to kick it off, like this idea, like I have my own answers about that. I'm really curious, you as somebody who really, you have so many tools that you lay on people to help them to clear money stories and stuff. How do you help people with all these money stories, especially the economy one these days? Because I've been hearing that more and more from people, like, I don't know about this economy or whatever. And so, yeah, how do you handle those things with people?
Such a good question. I feel like you're asking two questions. And one of the questions is, what's my understanding of what's going on with the economy? And the second question is, how do I respond to people who blame the economy for what's going on with them? And those are two completely different questions. So from my perspective, the economy is a big global phenomenon that none of us controls. And so it's pointless very ineffective to use our precious creative energy worrying about something that we don't control, right? And so it's really disempowering to blame something outside of ourselves as the reason that we're having XYZ problem, because the economy is constantly going up and down, and everything is moving around the globe. We're all in such an interconnected economy right now. And I don't believe that we actually have a money problem. We have a distribution problem, and we have a circulation problem. And the more that we all circulate wealth, the more that we're part of the distributory system, the better it is for everyone. Everyone benefits when we move money around the planet. And when we hoard money, money is the water element. Think of what happens when water's not flowing. It's stagnant, it's toxic. Nothing can grow that's healthy in that environment. And so when people have a very toxic belief around money, like I can't spend money, that's actually unwittingly creating a toxic internal environment where the whole body goes into fight or flight, where it feels the person feels disempowered, the person feels like I don't have any control here. And so that person needs money mindset work. It's, when we're in a state of fight or flight, when we're in a state of lack, when we're in a state of feeling disempowered and I'm not in control of anything, because, if you're like, oh, I'm up against the economy, well, hello, like you're up against this global behemoth that you don't control because it's created by all 9 billion of us, right? So like you've just given your power away to something that you don't control. And that way madness lies. So I love to help people really change their perspective about money. Now, when somebody comes to me and says, I really want to work with you and I don't have any money. Okay, there you go. Apparently you don't really want to work with me. If that's the story that people want to tell, neurologically, if we keep saying, I don't have any money, our nervous system, because it loves us and its job is to protect us, our nervous systems will go about making sure that we're right about the story that we're telling about ourselves. I'm not interested in convincing people. When people are really hell-bent on arguing for their lack and for their limitation, they're more interested in that, in preserving that, than they are in breaking through. So I want to be really sensitive to that. And the last thing I'm here to do is to convince anybody of everything, of anything. And the reason that people get stuck in that really disempowered place is because they're so used to everybody telling them what they should think and what they should do and what they should believe, and they're not used to listening to their own inner voice. So I often will just shrug. If they'll say, I really want to work with you and I don't have any money, I'll be like, okay, sounds like now's not the right time. Sounds like it's not a priority right now. Like I used to get into it with people, and then there were, when I mean get into it with people, I used to have a conversation. I'd say, well, would you want to work with me if you did have the money? And they would say, well, absolutely, I totally want to work with you.
Yeah, right.
And then
That's what they always say, right?
right. And then I'd say, all right, well, you're resourceful, you're creative. So I trust that you can be resourceful and figure it out. I used to step in and say, do you want to brainstorm about it? But then they would sometimes, not often, but sometimes, people who are really in their victim shoes do not want to take off those victim shoes because they are the most comfortable pair of slippers they have ever worn. And then they'd come back and they'd say, you made me work with you. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not in control of you. You're in control of you. So I won't even have that conversation. If somebody, is in my DMs or they email or they get on a call with me and they say, I really want to work with you and I don't have any money. And I'll just say, oh, okay. Is that your story? Is that the story that you want to tell? Is that why we're having a conversation? Because that's the story you want to tell? And if it is, okay. And most of the time, it's not that people don't have the money. I would say 99% of the time, it's not that people don't have the money. It's that they don't feel worthy of spending it on themselves. Or it's that they don't feel capable of seeing themselves as someone who gets to have this kind of team support. And so I'll have that kind of conversation, but I'm not interested in having a conversation about, I don't have the money, because if you tell yourself, I don't have the money, you're giving instructions to your subconscious mind, make sure that she never has the money, right? So, it's really important to go underneath of the story. Well, why don't you? What, like, do you see yourself as creating the money? I work with people who are multiple 6-figure and 7-figure business coaches. And if you're a multiple 6 or 7-figure business coach, you have people on your team. And I'm one of those people who's on your team. I'm one of those people to help you reframe. I'm one of those people to help you, just like you've got a tech person to help you with your funnels and your automation. I'm your inner tech person. And I'm here to help you regulate your nervous system, clear some of the subconscious conditioning that says it's not safe for me to have money. I feel guilty if I have money. I feel ashamed if I have money. Who am I to have more than other people? We don't need more broke change agents on the planet. We need people to be beacons of love and compassion and support and contribution, and see yourself as one of those. And if you see yourself as $1 million business owner, investing $20,000 for somebody on your team to help you, that's not a big investment, right?
Mhm.
So it's really just helping to shift the perspective. And what is money anyway? It's just energy, right? Why are you giving energy that is the all it is, that is, Christ consciousness, it's divine love, it's compassion, it's
Mhm.
peace? Why feel so disempowered around those frequencies instead of choosing to be those frequencies?
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate and make money meditation today. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, great. I love like, okay, yeah, I always ask like 5 questions at once to start off the show. I don't know about that, but okay, yeah, usually I'm good at doing that. Like I have like 5 questions I want to ask at once. So you did a great job answering like the whatever amount of questions I asked. So yeah, like with the circulation thing, I so agree. I always tell people, what do you think? $1 trillion just sitting around is more valuable, or like 100 million that's circulating around like really fast. Like, of course, it's $100 million wins every single day. It's not the quantity necessarily as much as how much it's circulating. And so I love what you shared about that. And then, but people forget about that. They don't even know that. Most people, I don't think, even have a clue about that. So.
And I
uh,
think money circulates as a result of people bringing valuable things to market. If you go to a farmer's market, there's a lot of money that moves through a farmer's market. Why? Because the farmer's bringing the apples, the farmer's bringing the eggs, the farmer's bringing the asparagus, the farmer's bringing stuff that they tended to in their garden that they grew, and then they're bringing it to market, and we exchange our money for that because it's nourishing to us. Or maybe there's an arts and crafts fair, and so the artists are bringing their pottery and their jewelry and their clothing, right? They're bringing their creation. And when you bring your creation to the marketplace, you're actually creating a bigger pie. You're adding more value. And it's a really different way of thinking about money. When you're saying, I don't have any money, you're coming from a place of lack consciousness. And if I were to say that, I would be coming from a place of lack consciousness too. And I actually love having enrollment conversations where I really want something and I'm afraid. I can feel the fear, and I can be in the fear of, I really want to hire this person. For example, I recently started a podcast called the Anatomy of Money podcast, and I hired a team to be the podcast producers and to do the show notes and to do the graphics. And I really wanted somebody to do that for me. And so they told me what the investment would be. And I just loved being in the feeling space of, I'm feeling the anxiety of, I don't have the money in the bank account right now. And right behind that is this voice that says, so what? You're going to be making the money. It doesn't matter if it's not in the bank account, because what's in the bank account is a reflection of what you did a week ago, or a month ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago. It's a reflection of some version of something you did in the past, right? And so it's no indication of the money that's coming in or what you're going to create next. And it's really important that we keep having this at the front of mind, that we have this future looking orientation, because the future has not happened yet. So it is wide open, and you could become, I've had many 6-figure leaps in a day. I've had many 6-figure leaps in a year. Did I see them coming? I didn't know if it was going to work out or not, but I was focusing all my energy. I was focusing all my attention. I was putting all my love and all my compassion and all my heart magnetism in that direction. And I was doing my inner clearing so that my nervous system would be okay with me receiving wealth of that magnitude in that short amount of time. And really, when we're talking about money, you know, let's just have the spiritual conversation about it. Money is spirit. It's pure energy. It's not a thing that controls you. It's pure energy that in the quantum is instantly available. It doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to be hard. Down here on the earth plane, gravity, thank you, provides resistance. And so if we operate from the earth plane, if we operate in the world of form, and thought is a kind of form, I don't have is a form of identity of how you see yourself, you're going to find yourself in battle and in struggle and pushing against stuff, because form against form, it creates friction, right? When you push against form, it pushes against you. And the more you push, the more it pushes against you, which is why so many people, when they're totally focused on, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, they're putting all their energy into that. And they're like, why am I deeper in debt than I was before? Well, because all your energy is focused on not having money. So you just keep creating more and more and more and more piles of not having money. And when we transcend that, that's going to always exist. But what also always exists is the non-physical part, the formless part, the part that hasn't come into form yet, because it is you who is literally the transformer, right? The formless, the all that is, the God, goddess, prana, chi, life force, the beloved, the great mystery, the unnameable, by whatever name you identify that pure energy that is source, it's not formed yet. When it filters through you, you are large and in charge. You are the filtration system, and you get to choose what are you going to create with this creative energy that is flowing through you. And it takes the same amount of creative energy to be in resistance as it does to create something that you can sell, as it does to be in joy, as it does to be in laughter. I mean, it's all just energy in a different state, a different vibrational state. And some of it feels heavier and some of it feels lighter. Some of it feels oopsie. Some of it feels a little bit more resistant. Some of it feels a little bit less resistant. It's just energy. It's playing with you and you're playing with it. So it's really not a big deal, but the mind makes it be a really big deal. And, that's where I help people unhook from the conditioning, because in the nervous system, it feels heavy and it feels scary.
Survival. It's survival stuff, right?
Yes, it is survival. And
I mean,
it's really,
it's root, there's all this other stuff, but it's survival to me is the strongest, maybe the strongest factor in my opinion. But
Mhm.
I don't know. You tell me what your take
Well,
is.
I feel like our mind goes to this conclusion of, I need money to survive. And most of the people who are listening to this podcast, most of my clients, most of your clients, they're business owners. They're actually out there creating value. They're healers. They're helping people heal their health, heal their emotional wounds, heal their money wounds, heal their disconnection from source. And, when you walk around saying, I don't have any money, you are pinching yourself off from source, because there is nothing richer. There is nothing more generous and abundant and compassionate than source. So, we've got to we've got to realize that money is just energy. And if you think that when you have a certain amount of money, you're going to be safe, that's the same trap of outsourcing your okayness to money, outsourcing your safety to money. Money is not going to keep you safe, especially in this economy. Look at all the people who thought they were safe in a job and then they got laid off. Look at all the people who thought they were safe because they'd invested millions of dollars and then the stock market took a little dip and they lost hundreds of thousands in a day. Look at the people who hang their safety on the economy, which is like hiccuping and it's up and down all the time. That money is not going to keep you safe. And I think that we've been conditioned to identify with the physical world as if the physical world can keep us safe. And the physical world is the past. The physical world is what has already been created from energy. And I believe that what our true source of safety is recognizing our creative potential to be resourceful, to know I can handle this. Like, I have the capacity to handle this. I thought that thing was going to kill me. It didn't. Apparently, I'm bigger than it. I was really afraid of that conversation, and I'm still here. It didn't kill me. Many people have lost everything and they've rebuilt it. And, I think it's by design, because we get to discover parts of ourselves that we didn't know we were capable of, in these experiences.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that you said that I think is so cool is remembering that whatever is in the physical, like the way I translate it for myself, is whatever is in the physical now is already the past, literally, like whatever you're looking at even right now, that's already gone. It's not here anymore. I mean, you don't know anything you're looking at, like, is already. So when you look at the stars at night, like, it's a great example, right? That light is so far out there that those stars, some of them don't even exist anymore, and yet we can see
Right.
them
By the
in the
time the
sky,
light
right?
reaches us,
But
the
no, it's
star's
real.
not
It's
even
right there.
here.
I can see it. Like,
Right.
no,
Right.
it's not real anymore. And you can
Uh-huh.
see the old reflection, but they're not truly even there anymore. We could even go deeper than that, right? But
Yeah.
even at that level, it's like realizing, okay, when I look at my bank account and say, this is my reality, actually, it's not. It's your old reality. That's what I
Right.
love about that framing you brought in. That is not, your reality. That's the past already. That's,
Right.
saying that's my reality. You keep carrying it forward, right? You
Right.
keep,
Yeah. And it's like, then if you do that, and it's completely unconscious, but if we do that, if we just keep repeating the same story over and over, it's like you've got a rubber stamp, and you rubber stamp your yesterday onto today. And then you rubber stamp today onto tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And pretty soon, 10 years from now, you're in the same boat that you were right now, because you kept projecting your yesterday onto your tomorrow. And what I love about this um, conversation is that the future hasn't happened yet, and you can actually collapse the future into this now moment because of what we just said. So this now moment leads to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. The decision you make right now becomes the lens through which you see your life in the next moment. And then you take action, just like when you're walking on a trail. If you sit in your car at the trailhead, you're never going to make it to the top of the mountain. And once you start walking a little bit, now you have a little bit different view. And then you walk a little bit more, and now you've got another different view. And then you go up a little bit, and now you've got another perspective. And when we're in action, when we're consciously creating, we're not focusing on the creation. That's already done. We're focusing on what I am creating. And I don't see it yet because I'm creating it.
Mhm.
Right. It's like, when you're baking cookies, you got to break the eggs. You got to beat the wheat. You got to beat the milk. Everything has to break its previous version of itself, right? The egg has to be out of its shell and mixed up, and the wheat has to get out of its husk and mixed up, and it's going to change a state. And you mix everything up, and you break the egg, and you melt the butter and whatever the things are. So there has to be a rupture from the previous state, and you mix everything up, and you don't know it's going to turn out, but you trust that it will, right? And you put it in the oven, and then what happens? All of a sudden, like, the smell comes, and then the cookies start to puff up, and then, like, the result is down the road. You don't see the done cookie when you're mixing it up. And the same is true with our money mindset. Like, so many people say, well, I need to have the proof first. That's like saying I have to have the cookie before I'm going to, like, make the
Right.
recipe, or I have to have a child before I'm going to have sex. Like, show me the kid first, and then I will have sex. That's
Right.
not the way creation works. I'm
Right.
sorry, but it's just not.
Right. That is interesting. If people are to worry about those things like they do money, right? Like, oh my God, I don't know if the cookie's actually going to happen. Why? Maybe I shouldn't bother. Right?
Right.
After all, I'm expending energy and I'm grabbing all these ingredients and putting time and energy and money into it. I can't
Right.
get nothing out of it yet.
Right.
And
And
I,
you might not, I mean, I'm not much of a baker. And I very often have burned the cookies, or I've
right.
made a recipe that just, I don't follow the rules, and it doesn't turn out, and whatever. I mean, it's the same with you making money. It's really not about you making money, because the money is the result. The money is like the cookie. What you want to be focusing on is, what kind of a person am I being? What am I contributing to the bandwidth of humanity? What am I contributing to make a bigger pie? If you're a healer, focus on healing, focus on helping. Focus on all the people who are in pain and you've got a solution, and focus on you being in action and in service. And the money is kind of the caboose on the train. The money shows up as a result of you being the healer who's healing people, right? It doesn't show up when you sit there and say, well, I don't have any clients. Okay. Well, that's focusing on the result. Like, what
Yeah.
can you do as a healer? You start giving free readings, you start, giving free sessions, or you start doing, writing a PDF about self-healing, or you go on YouTube or whatever. There are many, many ways to be
Yeah.
visible and start to share your message. But my point is that we can't wait for the result before we're in action, because you being in action is the thing that creates the result.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Also, yeah, that there's not an end point. Like, now we got the money, now we got it. Because you play the we got it, then we don't got it thing, then you're always in a cycle of lack, ultimately. I mean, it's
Totally.
like, whoa, I got it. I just made 100 grand even, or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can make a million and be totally in lack and go to
Right.
zero. I mean, so it means nothing. It's about how you're being with it, as much as like the amounts that are coming in my opinion. Like, it's been my experience. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you could have all the money in the world and feel totally broke, right? And
Right.
uh,
Totally.
so yeah, I mean, it's about like how you're being with it. I love like the whole thing about, focusing towards the future. I was, listening to Dan Sullivan again, and I'm sure you're pretty well versed with all the different people out there, to a large degree anyway, on his talk. He talks about the future a lot, right? And like, what do you do? Everybody's focused on like growing a little bit and pulling the past to the present, and we should be pulling the future to the present, kind of
Oh,
thing, right? And that's how and then if you focus on something big you're going towards, it's like that's got its own energy momentum, right? And it's pulling us forward. And we, when we stay focused on who we're wanting to become, maybe, or however you want to frame it, and moving in that direction, yeah, I mean, it's unstoppable as long as you keep focusing on it. And then
yeah.
you start focusing on, yeah, but like, yeah, then then you lose that momentum and that in the direction you want to go. But once you get that momentum going, wow, it's quite powerful. It can really take you a long ways. And yeah, there's always challenges, because that's part of the nature of life, right? Is, oh my God, like you said, like I had this anxiety even recently about money came up, and it happens, right? I don't know if there's too many people that are just constantly at peace with money. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but almost maybe, but I think almost everybody, right? I'm going to ask you the question. Don't you think like most of us all have like emotions, anxiety, and stuff? I mean, are we like where we feel a sense of lack? Almost all of us at some point, even if we're doing well, we're generally very positive and thrive mindset or whatever. It's like it comes, it's okay. So I think that's the other thing. We get into a paradigm of, well, you and your bullshit with money again. Well, but I think there's a shaming in that, right? So we have to get beyond that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. There are two things that you said that I wanted to respond to. One was about um, that the future doesn't exist, and we can write the future because it hasn't happened yet. We can also rewrite the past. And I want to be really careful about how I'm saying this. I don't control how you're hearing it. So I want to take the time to explain what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. The past exists. That is, it comes to life. It springs to life when we think about a moment in the past. If we're not thinking about a moment in the past, quantum science says when a scientist is looking at the atom, where the scientist is looking, that's where the electron appears. And the same is true with our mindset. So when we're focused on the past, we bring the past to life. When we're not focused on the past, it, in a way, it doesn't exist because it's not in our field. And when we allow ourselves to rewrite the past, that is to feel the emotions of the past, we integrate them and we become neutral to it. That is, we don't need the past to go away for us to be okay. We can let the past be as it is. We can see the value in the past. We can recognize that we needed all of those challenges and disappointments and upsets and misunderstandings because everything happened and here we are, right? Like we wouldn't be here without all of those things in the past. It completely shifts our view of the past. It's not saying, oh, that never happened. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm saying rewriting the past. What I am talking about is that our interpretation of it shifts so that we no longer see ourselves as victim of something terrible that happened, but we see this thing happened and I'm okay. This thing happened and I figured it out. This thing happened and I dug deep. I became resourceful and I found all this support that I didn't know was there, whether it was from other people or it was my own creativity, or I got a lucky break, or I was in the right place at the right time. I'm still here. Like that thing didn't take me out. So apparently I'm more than that story because I'm here, right? Like that thing didn't dominate me. I might have let it dominate me for 40 years, but not anymore. Right? It's a
Mhm.
part of you. And now it's like a pixel in the jumbotron of your incredible experience in life.
Yeah.
It no longer drags you down.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I love that with the way I heard you say it was, I'm still here. I'm still here. Like, I love that. I was saying that not that long ago, and I use that from time to time. I'm like, everybody says the end of the world's coming, but I'm still here. Like,
Yeah.
you can say
Right.
whatever you want. I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I mean something deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm still here, like the infinite's still here. It always will be.
Yes.
It ain't going nowhere.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. It's like,
Right.
yeah, this, version of Deborah that looks like she's in a body. I mean, I am in a body, but what we're talking about is the infinite me is still here. The eternal me is still here. The soul of me is still here. And all this other stuff, all this other Sturm und Drang and angst and ups and downs of the economy, it's not more powerful than me because I'm still here, which leads me to the second thing that I wanted to share. Um, and it feels kind of like a vulnerable share and kind of like whatever, which is that I recently did a launch and I enrolled no one. And a lot of entrepreneurs are like, oh, I got to make this much in my launch. I got to talk to this many people and I got to have this many sales calls. And they've got all these goals and targets and da da da. And I've had many six-figure launches. And so I had the experience of doing a launch and no one. And I was jumping up and down. I was so excited because like I've been asking for an experience of, like we meditate and we do our spiritual practices and we do our clearing and we do our energy work and we re-regulate our nervous system. But you need like a boots on the ground experience of, okay, how are you going to react when no money is coming in the door? So I had an experience of no money coming in the door. And you know what? I still felt fantastic. I was still in joy. I was in delight. I was laughing. I was painting. I was doing yoga. I was swimming. Like it really didn't knock me down. And that feels like such a huge bit of growth. And it's not because I made a pile of money. It's because I'm totally fine whether or not I make a pile of money. It's super fun to make a pile of money. And it's also super fun to enroll new clients and have more free time, so like it's all great. And, like this to me really feels like next level freedom because I don't feel any longer like I'm a slave to money. Like money's showing up for me. I feel really great. Money's not showing up for me. I don't feel very good. That's not my operating condition anymore. And so I feel freer than ever.
Right.
And I feel like
So
the freedom and the
yeah,
detachment is actually really magnetic, and more people than ever are coming now.
right. Right. Well, I love that. I mean, there's that whole analogy of money, like a boyfriend or whatever, right? Like, well, when he's there, I'm happy. When he leaves, and then I'm
Right.
unhappy and I'm sad and I'm lonely. And
Right.
like, what if you feel great no matter what? Like, you just allow yourself to be unconditionally because your source is your source, right?
Right.
You
And
allow
it's not
yourself.
money's job to make you feel okay about you. It's not money's job to reassure you. It's not money's job to keep you safe. It's not money's job to make sure that, you know, things go the way you want them to go. You know, we all actually unconsciously desire things to not go the way that we want them to go so that we can see what our next level money blocks are. Because everything that's happening is your creation. So when it happens and you're like, ooh, I really didn't want it to go out that way. Well, apparently you did, because that's what's happening. So then the next question is, I wonder why I created that. I wonder why I chose to interpret it that way. I wonder what the opportunity is for me here. Isn't
Right,
it interesting that this is up for me right now?
right.
What's being asked of me? And like those kinds of things are the fast path to growth, not when everything is all super easy peasy lemon squeezy, because nothing grows in the absence of resistance.
Hmm. Hmm.
So welcome it when you have it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Welcome all of it, right? I
Yeah.
had a client today, right? It's like I just enrolled 2 clients into my program, and in one day, and it's a big thing for him, right? It's a big day, because it's a, they're high ticket and all that good stuff, right? So it's like, wait, and then I feel good as a coach because I've had a supporting role in it. At least maybe would have happened without me. Who knows? I mean, but I supported the process, and it's like, yeah, yeah, awesome, yeah, let's keep going. And so there's that dynamic going on with that. And yet I've got another client that just was working with me, and his path was more like he wants to go so big, and money's gone inverse. He had a lot of money to start with from all the other things he's done. And now, oh my God, this next, and then he's like smiling about it, even though at one level, even though he's really stressed, it's like, yeah, if this next thing doesn't work, I guess I might have to go back and do the old stuff. It's like I noted to him, it looks like you're deeper down inside, you're having fun with this process, even though you're stressed about it. Like, you're like, whoa, what a fun experiment I set up for myself. Oh my God, it's gonna work out. It's like a cliffhanger we've created for ourselves. We do these things for ourselves all the time, but we lack the awareness, I think, often to realize you've created perfectly. You may as well just enjoy whatever the hell you create. party
Right.
party on from there, from that awareness. And if you want to choose differently, so to speak, you can, right? And it's how I see it anyway. And yeah, it's just, there's so many wonderful ways we can be in the process and realize, yeah, it's just one big story we're telling ourselves. That's why I love when you talk about, money stories and how to, I don't know what you say exactly. I've heard you many times in the past, but unraveling those money stories and stuff, it's like, it's all it is. It's just a damn story we're telling us. And like every enlightened teacher tells you what, the minute you open your mouth, you're already starting to get a little bit lost, right? So like, it's not what we think. So, so it is. It's pretty hilarious, the things. So I always say, if you're gonna make up stories, you may as well make up some good ones, because they'll be more enjoyable, rather these horrible, sad stories, unless that's what you're into, and you teach their own. That's not with the one I prefer the most, although I do like a sad one every once in a while. So absolutely. So yeah, so this is good, really good on an overall perspective of like money. And then I think, like what happens again is the lower basal brain, with all these things, when people talk about social media, all these things, money, whatever it is, like, oh, oh! It still happens, no matter how much training they get, no matter, it's still in there. So what are ways we could calm? I know you're into calming the nervous system and things like that, right? How can we calm our nervous system? Because even though we know all this stuff, and we might start doing the work, and maybe we'll talk some more about that, right? Working on more tangibly, what can we work on as well? But like, what are ways we can even just calm our nervous system around like money when we're trying to make money as spiritual entrepreneurs?
My favorite go-to is to focus on the breath.
Hmm.
And it's immediate. We all know the feeling of the mind spinning, of not getting traction, of feeling frustration. And all those are symptoms that you are in your unconscious conditioning. And your mind is driving, and your mind is pulling memory from the past where you got hurt or disappointed or judged or rejected or shamed or humiliated or something didn't feel very good. So your body instantly constricts because it wants to protect you. And the awareness of, oh, I'm feeling constriction, you got to notice I'm feeling some tightness in my body. You got to notice that. But the minute that you notice that, I love to just close my eyes and begin to let my attention land on the breath. Why? Because the breath is in my body. The minute I start focusing on my breath, my brain, my consciousness drops into my body, and I'll just go there. And that little bit of distance from the judge, if the judge is in the head and all I can get is, let's say, my throat, because that's all I can get to in the moment. Maybe I can allow my breath to just expand a little bit at a time, not forcing anything, just let myself feel the constriction and just be with the breath, focus on the sound of the breath. Sometimes I might count the breath, and then I might get a little bit further into the body and really letting your breath lead. I often say, let your breath lead and you hang on to the coattails of the breath. So you're actually following the breath. And that gives the mind a bit of a respite, and the mind is going, oh, thank God, I don't have to figure everything out right now because the breath is doing the work. Like, I don't have to do the work. I'll just be with the breath. And that will really slow your nervous system down. And there are so many ways that we can focus on the breath. Some people like to inhale, count 1, exhale, count 1. Some people like to inhale 1 and then exhale, inhale 2 and then exhale. So you choose how you want to count. The minute you notice your mind is wandering, it's off like a little puppy, gently call it back in the same loving way you'd call a puppy back. I hope that you wouldn't yell at a puppy. I hope you wouldn't yank on the leash. And, I hope you'd be gentle because it's a little baby creature. And you'd say, come on, puppy, come back. You just felt it'd be like this loving thing that the puppy runs to because it's curious. And then you come back to the breath. So that's a really great way to calm your nervous system. Also, the sense of touch. So right now I'm just rubbing my fingers. And, you can do more complicated tapping, EFT tapping, but even this, just feeling the texture and the friction of your hands, or sometimes I'll go like this, right? Like I'm just tracing a line with my one hand over all the fingers. I'm going up and down, and just that sensation that instantly moves the blood flow out of fight or flight, out of the middle of the brain, the amygdala that perceives a threat, and it moves it to the somatosensory cortex, which is the outer surface of the brain, where we're less activated. We're able to be more compassionate. So those are, a couple of ways to just begin to train your body not to be so reactive. When we're reactive and we're caught up in reactivity, we're so identified as it, it's hard to not see ourselves as that, right? We're so angry, we just have to respond. But if you can train yourself by meditating every day, not just when you're having a hard time, but meditate every day so it's just automatic, then your body automatically will begin to prefer the state of meditation. So the minute you pinch yourself off from that state of calm and compassion, your body will be like, wait, we really like that feeling of calm. What are you doing? And then you'll be able to come back to that more quickly.
Yeah. Oh man, I did the breathing, I did the hand rubbing on each hand, and then the outlining of each finger going through the hand. And then and also I think it's the way you're talking too helps. So I'm like, oh yeah, I feel extra calm now. I feel more calm. And so yeah, it works. And it's just like, wow, that's all it takes to feel better. Like they say, like, the mind is so complicated, it makes everything complicated. Oh my God, what are we gonna have to do? We're gonna have to pull off some trick to feel better, and yeah, or something like that. Like we make like the mind's always looking, how can we make this more complicated or something? Like, right? Like, how are we going to make money? Oh my God, it's so complicated. Like sometimes it's like, how about the last three people that said they want to work with you? You haven't followed up with them.
Right. Well, and when it comes to anything that feels challenging, you will have an easier time and even enter into what we call the flow state, which requires that there be challenge when you're relaxed.
Mhm,
So, whatever you can do to relax your nervous system will help you have more creative ideas, help you be less reactive, help you have more energy to create what you want. Because if all your energy is going into reactivity, if all your energy is going into worry, if all your energy is going into blame or catastrophizing, that
mhm,
energy is not available to you to create with. And
mhm,
since you creating your stuff
mhm,
results in you having money, wouldn't you like to have more energy to create stuff that you could, share with other people that will result in you having more money? Because you worrying actually removes you from the money. You
mhm,
catastrophizing fills you with fear, and that actually removes you from being the creative source that you are.
mhm,
So when we calm our nervous system down, all the energy that was going into the worry or the rationalizing or the ruminating or the catastrophizing or creating another problem, because the brain likes to solve problems. And if there aren't any, your mind is so clever, it will create some
right,
to do, right? So
right.
if all your energy's over here, like once you withdraw your energy, now it's available for you to create stuff with.
Mhm. Right, right. Absolutely. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, so I know you have a whole, like I said, I truly, Deborah has like incredible tools and she has endless tools to help you, which makes it fun. Like she's like, okay, here's another one. Here's another thing you can do. Like I've been on her in her Facebook group and seen these things over the years. So Deborah, what are some of the different ways people can connect with you? And we didn't get a lot of chance to talk about like maybe a lot of specifics yet. Maybe we'll do that after you share where people can check out some more about you. But where can people check out more about you and moving through money stories and all that sort of stuff? And yeah, check you out.
Yeah, thanks so much for asking. And you know what? I think money is really fun. It's really fun to have money. It's really fun to spend money. It's really fun to have team supporting. It's really fun to go on vacation. It's really fun to paint and create and swim and eat yummy food. And like money is just it's fun. It's fun to move it around the planet. It's fun to contribute and donate. And I want more people to feel at ease with money because money is just creative energy that's a result of you offering creative stuff to the world. So lots and lots of ways to do it. You can go to my website, deborahfryer.com, and there is a free book there that's called Best Brain Hacks, which is 108 sensual, scientific, and spiritual ways for you to change your brain. And all of the ways that are in that book are ways to get you out of fear and fight and flight and stress and anxiety and into creativity and joy and fun and pleasure. So that's a free gift for you. There's also a free Facebook group that I facilitate that's called the Anatomy of Money Academy. And you're welcome there. I get in there a couple times a week and I go live and I often do challenges that are free. And I just love
Very good. They're all
helping
very good.
people
That's
with
where I
money because
love
it's
connecting.
fun.
Mhm.
I just want to brag for a second. I have a client who's been working with me for, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months. And when she came in, she was really afraid to be visible. And she was really afraid, to be on stage and to be in the spotlight. And last night she sang on stage in front of 15,000 people. And that's the kind of thing that can happen like in 6 months, 7 months, where she just cleared her fear of visibility, which is something a lot of entrepreneurs have, right? I don't want anybody to see me because I'm going to be a, a, a target, or they're not going to like me, or they're going to judge me, or I'm too much. And, we just been clearing her stuff, clearing her stuff, clearing her stuff. And yeah, there are tears involved because it's painful to look at our wounds. It's painful to discover how we've, hidden and shut down and repressed ourselves and been so mean and critical to ourselves. It's painful to do the inner work. And she's doing the inner work. And then she was on stage in front of 15,000 people. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you reset your nervous system, that it's safe to be visible. A way for you to practice this on your own is there's a free book called Turn on Your Tap. And we'll drop the link in the show notes. Daniel will. I won't. You will. Um, and it's a free book that will give you an introductory understanding of EFT, emotional freedom technique, and how to use tapping. Tapping has now been clinically shown in many, many studies to literally change the blood flow in your brain. So it's not woo, although the first time I did it, I certainly thought it was woo, but it's actually clinically proven to change the structure of your brain, because as you move more blood flow into the higher cortical areas and you move it away from the amygdala, you stop activating those areas. So those areas become less reactive, and the creative, associative, compassionate parts activate more easily and more quickly. So that's an awesome free gift. And finally, I have a podcast. So if you like to hear money mindset stuff, sometimes it's me, sometimes I lead meditations, sometimes I interview experts on all things mind, body, money, then you can check that out. It's called the Anatomy of Money podcast. And you can find it on Apple and Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Awesome. Yeah, check it all out. Like I said, the Facebook group is what I have the strongest connection with, and been in there many times over the years. I got to get back in there. I haven't been in there in a while. There's just so much going on sometimes, right? So I remember how much I've enjoyed being in there in the past. So guys, check all that out. We'll put the links below, and looking forward to hearing from some of you maybe about how much you're enjoying her work. So Deborah, yeah, before we start wrapping up, we've got a little bit of time left. So maybe you could share with us like a secret money hack, like something that just comes to mind, like what's one way? Because people are just like, yeah, I still want more money though, damn it, like, like then maybe there's like with every thing you said, it's like, yeah, but I love something that feels more direct or practical or whatever. Like, is there something you could share with people, some kind of money hack that would help people, like they could implement and it could make a big difference like quickly?
I don't know if there's a hack,
Mm.
because your nervous system's reactions to money have been that way your entire life. What you know about money, what you believe about money, what you feel about money, what you're afraid of around money, the guilt, the shame, the nervousness, the anxiety, um, the punishment, the scarcity, the anger, the conflict, whatever it was for you, you absorbed that when you were little, and you absorbed it like a little sponge without even realizing that you were absorbing beliefs and energetic reactions to money. So I think it's really a disservice to all of us to think that we can shift something in 30 seconds when your nervous system has been working on this pattern 365 days a year times the number of years you've been on the planet. That said, your body is earth. So your body follows the laws down here on the earth plane. Your body follows the laws of gravity. Your body feels emotion. Your body feels weight. Your body feels heaviness. Your body feels frustration, etc. Right? Because your body's earth. You can at the same time inhabit the quantum, and you are at the same time inhabiting the quantum. So this is a way to bypass what you think the conditions are and have instant change. So I want to wrap it like that, because sometimes people think, oh, I'll just have like this immediate thing. Well, all of your cellular responses need to be moving in the same direction as what you're experiencing in the quantum. And that's why people feel a conflict, because they might have this, meditation where it's all love and light and it's beautiful and it's calm and everything is fabulous. But in their body, everything is not fabulous. Everything is not okay. Everything is not calm, right, and beautiful, but it's actually kind of ugly and messy. And so we've got to do the full on integration, and that's what takes time. So what I recommend is, again, I'm going to just say something about a breath meditation. If you can give yourself even 5 breaths where you experience even, 1 nanosecond of spaciousness, you're going to begin to train your nervous system that it is safe for you to expand. And people can work really, really hard and they can hustle and they can think about it and ruminate. And, I talk about it in therapy for 50 years and nothing's changed because you keep reiterating the same path. So the invitation is to give yourself some grace and look at it from the high level view. Go out here into the quantum, look down on you, have the eternal version of you look down and see what's the role that you're playing. Did you choose that role? Are you willing to accept that you're the creator of your reality? And this is a big if, right? If you're willing to accept that you're the creator of your reality, not everybody is. And that's okay. Not everybody is ready to be the leader of their own life. And it's not anybody's fault if anybody isn't ready. We've all been conditioned by the patriarchal dominant paradigm to expect external, more powerful people than us control us. It's part of the conditioning, which is why I'm saying go out here, because there's nothing more powerful than the all that is. So even if you think, oh, my dad is more powerful than me, well, go out here where you're the all powerful, or my mom is more powerful than me, or my boss is more powerful than me, or my whomever, the government or the economy or the pandemic, you fill in the blank. If you're used to seeing everything as more powerful than you, go out here, go into the beyond, go even for 5 seconds, experience the quantum where you are the all that is. There is nothing that you are not, and have a taste of that and train your nervous system to remember that's who you are. Living in a body, that's who you are. And if you can do that, multiple times a day, eventually your nervous system will begin to accept the idea that you are not just this little version of you that you've been telling a story about. That's just part of the story, but you're creating, and you're in this body. And so see the bigger version, like see from up here, the drone shot of you, and what's the role that you're playing? And do you want to keep playing that role? Because if it's not working, what does Einstein say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. If it's not working, don't keep doing that same thing. Do something different. You're a creator. You're a healer. You're an artist listening to this podcast. What can you create? What can you offer? Like truly you merging with your creativity, you saying, I am the vibration of creativity. Create whatever you want. Right? Like you don't have to wait for it to show up. It's going to show up because you create it, right? The money is a result of you creating. So all of these ways are really just variations on how do I accept that I'm a powerful creator? And you know what? This takes great humility. It's the opposite of what we think. It's incredibly humbling to allow that much creative power to flow through you.
Wow. Yeah, so it is so powerful, just the realizing, yeah, it's kind of beyond words. So but yeah,
It
just
is.
feeling that energy that just came through as you're saying all that. Yeah. Like because you were saying that throughout the show, actually. You're like, it's the creative force, it's the creative force. And so yeah, literally, what does the creative force want to do through you? As you are doing everything that you just said. Like, okay, the creative force says yes to this. Then they go that way, like keep going the way that it's showing you. I see it. That's where the idea of following your intuition comes on board. But I think like sometimes people are just following their fears and stuff, like it's saying sometimes even it's their intuition, right? So it's like, but if you harness that creative force, then now what does your intuition say? That's what I say. Like, okay, now it feels aligned, right? So
Yeah, but your
love
fear is
that.
learned. Your
Yeah,
fear is conditioning. And pure creativity, you could create fear from it, or you could create, excitement from it. It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
same chemically, but the context, the story that you wrap around it, you will have a different perception of it. I love what you said, that creativity is constantly flowing through your body, the body. And here's the thing, creativity needs you to participate, because all the creative energy that is the pure potential of all the energy that is streaming, the cosmic consciousness, the universal intelligence that you are, that is flowing to you and through you, never not flowing through you and to you, needs you in physical form to use your voice, to use your hands, to use your body, to make stuff and create stuff and say stuff and write stuff and paint stuff. So you have to have a copacetic relationship between the non-physical you and the physical you. And I think where most people get stuck is they separate those two parts. They don't realize that they're actually one and the same in different vibrational states. All of it is you.
Cool. All right, cool. I like that. All right. So, Deborah, yes, yeah, that's just so amazing. So guys, this is what I'm saying. You want to get connected with Deborah, just follow this energy. You want to get connected with what she's talking about, right? And she can be of support to that. So again, check out everything with her, with all the links that we put below, especially her Facebook group, as far as I'm concerned. So so check that out as well. And so Deborah, yeah, as we're wrapping up for today, do you have any very last words for everybody today?
I'm cheering y'all on. You know, I too fall into sometimes the pit of, oh, it's so hard. And, you know, that's normal. That's part of the human condition. You know, it's part of our human condition that we perceive things as hard down here on earth because of gravity. I mean, thank goodness it is hard, or we couldn't be here, right? Thank goodness there is resistance, or we couldn't all be in a body. And so it's really just great to remember that if you raised your hand because you want a full spectrum experience of wealth, of delight, of joy, of pleasure, of fun, you know, whatever you raised your hand for, all of it is showing up for you. So when it feels hard, ask yourself, you know, what else is possible? Or how can I make this fun? Or like, look how creative I am that I created this really hard situation for myself. You know, I heard this thing. I don't know if I heard it or if I made it up. I can't remember. And like, this is the funny thing about the brain. Like, it doesn't know reality from imagination. But here's the thing. So the conscious mind loves to see everything as a problem. And when your conscious mind is used to seeing itself as a problem solver, those are the glasses it wears. Conscious mind says, ooh, there's a problem. Let me rush in and fix it. If there isn't a problem, let me create a problem so I have something to do. So instead of seeing everything as a problem, start seeing everything as a puzzle. And I really love this reframe because in puzzles, you can turn things in multiple perspectives. And even if it looks like they don't fit, everything fits. And when this is your perspective, when this is your come from, all of it fits. The challenge fits and the disappointment fits and the struggles fit and the ease fits and the laughter fits and the, oh my God, I'm such an idiot fits. Like all of it fits. There's a piece for everything.
Awesome. Yes. I'd love to comment, but I promise to give you the last words. All right. So thank
Go
you.
ahead, comment. I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, I mean, I just think that's amazing. I just love because what it is when I'm in my creative flow in life and everything's magical, it's exactly that way. I'm just like anything in business or life or whatever, like you're talking to a possible client or you're talking to, all of a sudden they're like, yeah, but I'm not going to do it because of it. And I'm convinced, but that puzzle piece came up. Like, I wouldn't say it that way, but that's basically how I feel it, though. It's like that. Oh, that puzzle piece just came. Well, that's interesting. And then you just hold presence, and before you know it, it might all come together. We're all celebrating afterwards, right? So, I didn't realize that. I think I do want to do it now, right? Life's so magical that way. It's when we hold the presence, yeah, that's where people lose it. Like they lose the presence where the challenges come. And then it's like, oh yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, you didn't hold the presence. So that's what didn't work. You gotta hold the presence, keep listening, and the answers will keep coming. So All right. So thanks for letting me share there, Deborah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, I'm so grateful for y'all tuning in. Deborah, thank you for everything you shared. It was really awesome. I really super enjoyed it. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for a great conversation. It's always wonderful to connect with you.
Likewise. Okay, everybody. Like I always say, thank you for listening and keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time, everyone. The Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.